welcome back to Bambi Reads Books. If you're new, my name is Bambi and this is Bambi Reads Books channel, and we talk about books and all things books: Instagram, book tours, new books, book releases, new books that I got to read before they're out, all kinds of things. But today we are going to talk about December's to be read pile, the list that I have accumulated and acquired that is way too big for me probably to finish, but I'm going to test my limits. I'm going to see how many books can I read in December. And I tried to pick books that I'm really going to enjoy. And I also tried to go out of my comfort zone and participate in online things, online activities. I always say, like, I'm going to go sign up and go to like a book club at the library, and like I don't ever do that. But I was like, I'm going to start making myself be more social with the books, the social book events. So I went on Goodreads and I found a group I've been a part of for over a year. I never participated in the challenge. Why? I don't know. So I did that and I went through, and it's called the Romance Readers Reading Challenges, and that's a group on Goodreads, and they have a whole bunch of different challenges you can pick from. But I picked their like Christmas prompt, so that means that they give you 10 different prompts, and they're like, pick a cover that has like, pick like a red cover, pick something with Christmas on it, or like pick a book that has like a certain kind of trope. Those kind of, they're like quizzes, but they're not. They're just supposed to inspire you to pick books from your TBR and actually read them. So that's what I did. I used theirs, the Romance Readers Reading Challenge group, their prompts, and that's what we're going to talk about right now. So here are the books that I picked and what the prompts were. The first prompt was pick a book with a blue and green cover. So I went ahead and I found Beartown by Frederick Backman. I've actually had this book on my TBR for quite some time, and I've had the actual book for quite some time, and I just have not got around to it. So this is the time that we get around to it. So let's see. The synopsis says, a tiny community deep in the forest, Beartown hasn't been the best at anything in a long time. But down by the lake stands an old ice rink, and in that ice rink, Kevin, Amit, and Benji, and the rest of the town's junior ice hockey team are about to compete in the national semifinals, and they actually have a shot at winning. All the hopes and dreams of this place now rest on the shoulders of a handful of teenage boys. Under that heavy burden, the semifinal match becomes the catalyst for a violent act that will leave a young girl traumatized in a town in turmoil. This is a story about a town in a game, but even more about loyalty, commitment, and responsibility of friendship. The people we disappoint even though we love them, and the decisions we make every day that come to define us. In this story of a small forest town, Frederick Backman has found the entire world. It sounds like it's going to not be boring. It sounds like it's definitely going to be a pick up and go kind of plot, and I'm really excited about it. I'm kind of sad to know what like the trauma is. Like, that's always a bummer. Definitely, I think that if you're sensitive to that, I would definitely look up trigger warnings for Beartown. It sounds like there may be some. I have not looked them up. I may not look them up. I just kind of go with the flow and see what pops up. But I get that not everybody can do that. So definitely look up trigger warnings as we're talking about these books, because I did not look up trigger warnings for any of these books. So just be aware of that. The second prompt was authors or characters with certain names. They gave a list of 4, and I just picked Claire. And not very many authors that I had on my shelf had any kind of name of Claire, first or last. It was very rare to find for my pile of books. So I ended up finding The Emperor's Children by Claire Massoud. And I also have the audiobook for this one. So if I get tired, I can listen to the audiobook and then come back and read it, as I'm sure I'm going to need little breaks, because this is, like I said, a big stack of books that I'm trying to tackle this month. The Emperor's Children is a richly drawn, brilliant, observing novel of faith and fortune, about the intersection in the lives of 3 families, now 3 friends, now on the cusp of their 30s, making their way and not in New York City. In this tour de force, celebrated author Claire Massoud brings to life a city of generations and the way we live in this moment. Flawlessly drawn, engrossing, Massoud's novel, so arching and elegantly phrased, is a chance to enter a world in which everything glistens with her wit, like waking to an early frost, refreshing, enhancing, and deadly. The Washington Post book world. That is what they said about it. That seems very heavy, and I am very interested. I have been reading a lot of romance and a lot of fantasy in November, and I'm actually excited to kind of get into a more heavy and like detailed story Like, I really think that this is going to be very enjoyable, and the type in this book is tiny, so this is going to be probably a hefty read. It's probably a good thing we have the Audible. The audiobook is actually like 18 hours long, so I'm sure it would be expected that it has a small type and a lot of pages. I'm gonna like that one. I'm excited. The next one was the last name. They were featuring an author named Alice Winters. I have never read any of her work. I went to the library to see if they had any. They did not have any of her books, and I didn't have any on the shelf, so I went to the other option of just picking an author with either the name of Alice or the name of Winters. So I went to the fiction section and pulled the first book with the last name Winters for the author, and I pulled Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters by Jane Austen and Ben H. Winters. And I'm really excited about this because I grew up kind of watching Sense and Sensibility. The Jane Austen, Jane Eyre was another one. What was the other one? There was a lot of them, and I don't know why they're just not clicking to me right now. Like, there's so many of them. But like, I don't know if your moms or aunts or grandmas watched them, but all of mine did. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of like more of a comforting, familiar read turning into like a science fiction read. And then here we go. Quirk Classics. From the publishers of Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I have not actually read that one either, but I know it was really popular. I see it on a lot of my friends' bookshelves, and I see it on a lot of people's Goodreads. So maybe. Comes a new tale of romance, heartbreak, and tentacle mayhem. Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters expands the original text of the beloved Jane Austen novel with all the new scenes of the giant lobsters, rampaging octopi, two-headed sea serpents, and other biological monstrosities. As our story opens, the Dashwood sisters are evicted from their childhood home and sent to live in the mysterious island full of savage creatures and dark secrets. While sensible Eleanor falls in love with Edward Ferrars, her romantic sister Mariana is courted by both the handsome Willoughby and the hideous man-monster Colonel Brandon. Can the Dashwood sisters triumph over meddlesome matriarchs and unscrupulous rogues to find true love, or will they fall prey to the tentacles that are forever snapping at their heels? This masterful portrait of Regent's England blends Jane Austen's biting social commentary with an ultra-violent depiction of sea monsters biting. It's survival of the fittest, and only the swiftest swimmer will find true love. That sounds so stressful and like just, what do you mean? I can't imagine any of those characters in that book ever coming across a sea monster. Like, they screamed when they found a mouse. Like, but I am definitely, oh, it has pictures inside. There's a monkey. There's a monkey, you guys. There's pictures. Oh man. I'm excited. Sorry. Okay, so the next one is the prompt number 4, and it is National Bartender Day on December 2nd. So they said pick a book with alcohol or an alcoholic scene or alcohol on the cover. Something to do with alcohol, or they said addiction too, but like I'm not into it. Like, I'm just not. So I picked Whiskey Lies by Brittany Nicole, and this is Falling for Whiskey, book 1. The second one is called Loving Whiskey, and it is already out, and I missed it because I didn't finish this one yet. So, and I did like this one. This one, she like finds out her husband's cheating on her, gets on an airplane, meets a handsome fella, and then they have like a fling, and then like he doesn't just want it to be a fling, and she's like, no, it's gonna be. And then she turns out that like she's the matchmaker and has to find him somebody else to date, and like that just sounds awful. It sounds awful, but we'll see what happens. So let's see. He says I'm his soulmate, but I'm also another man's wife. It was supposed to be a simple weekend away to forget the heartache caused by my cheating husband, but the man sitting next to me in 1B has different plans. Cash, whiskey's colored eyes, an easy smile begs me to dance beneath the stars, kiss in the moonlight, and walk hand in hand down the streets of Boston. Unfortunately, life has other plans, because I'm still married, and Cash James is a brilliant Playboy billionaire, standing between me and my dream promotion. My job is simple. Find Mr. James a wife, but nothing is easy when simply walking into his office leaves me with a buzz like I've just sipped straight from the bottle of whiskey. He makes me tipsy with emotion, breathless fear, and stupid, because no matter how good it feels in the moment, our love burns on the way down. Dang. just like in fire. Ooh, this one has pictures too? Does it? Does it? What's going on? No. Yes. Maybe it's all the same picture. Like the chapter. Maybe that's like the chapter split up. Oh, it is. And they just have like, see? Like, but it does make a fun little like bow tie. You can't see it so well, but it does make a little bow tie effect on the, like when it's closed. I know. It's the camera. But you'll see it maybe if you see it. But definitely, I think I want to read this. And I remember it was very spicy. So, you know, we'll read some sea monsters and then we'll have some whiskey spice. And then it's going to be a really good time, I think. I think it's a good selection so far. Okay. And we're going to move on. Sorry, I have like a sore throat and I'm doing the best I can. But it's just because we've had the heat on and I put the humidifiers out. But like, it is just what it is. So I don't mind talking, but like if I make funny noises and I'm so sorry. I'm trying here, guys. We have number 5, Ninja Spy and Assassin, a black cover or a book with a weapon on the front. So this one is, the one I picked is Wild and Wicked Things, just a black cover. And this one is actually an ARC copy, available in March 2022, so it's out. And this one is by Francesca May. And I will probably go and buy a not ARC copy of it since it's out, because I would rather have like the official copy so I can share quotes and things, because sometimes things do change from this copy to when they actually publish it. So we will fix that, but I'm still excited to read it. To those who are wild and wicked, welcome to the Crow Island. On Crow Island, people whisper real magic lurks just below the surface, but when Annie Mason arrives at the idyllic summer getaway, she never expected to discover her enigmatic new neighbor is a witch. When she witnesses a confrontation between her best friend Bay and the infamous Emmeline Delacroix at one of the Crow's Island extravagant parties, she is drawn into glittering, haunting world, a world where the boundaries of wickedness are tested and the cost of illicit blood bargains might be death. Delicious, decadent, and gothic, Wild and Wicked Things is a historical fantasy debut brimming with the glamorous parties, dangerous magic, and murder. That sounds like so much fun. It kind of looks like a Great Gatsby kind of cover. I'm not going to show you this way, but it does. It has like the fur on it, and there seems like candles with a bunch of witchy stuff, and there's third eyes and stars and some kind of bird. Like, I think it's going to be a fun, twisty time. I'm excited for that plot. I am. And then number 6 is time travel. I really was very loose with how I followed this one. So time travel, I wanted to read this. I've had this for a few months now, and I've been like, I'm going to read it. And I just keep getting busy. So this one is Darling Girl by Liz Michalowski. And this is a Peter Pan retelling, a novel of Peter Pan, and I've been wanting to read it for a very long time. I actually asked for the ARC over a year ago. I was not picked, and I'm not sour about it, but when I finally got it, it was like, woo, and then here we are, you know. In this beautiful reimagination of the G.M. Barrie's classic, one woman must take on the infamous Peter Pan, who is not the innocent adventurer the fairy tales make him out to be, to save her daughter's life. Life is looking up for Holly Darling, granddaughter of Wendy. Yes, that's Wendy. She's running a successful skincare company. Her son Jack is happy and healthy, and the tragedy of her past is well behind her, until she gets a call that her daughter Eden, who has been in a coma for nearly a decade, has gone missing from the estate where she's been long tucked away. And worst of all, Holly knows who must be responsible, Peter Pan, who is not only very real but very dangerous. Eden has a rare condition, a secret that Holly is desperate to protect, especially from Eden's half-brother Jack, who knows nothing about his sister, or the crucial role she plays in his life. Holly has no one to turn to. Her mother, Jane, is the only other person in the world who knows that Peter is more than just a story, but she refuses to accept that she is not the hero she always imagined. Desperate, Holly enlists the help of Christopher Cook, a notorious ex-soldier, in hopes of rescuing Eden before she loses her child. Darling Girl brings all the magic of the classic Peter Pan story to the present, while also exploring the dark underpinning of the fairy tale's grief, aging, sacrifice, motherhood, and just how far we will go to protect those we love. I think I'm gonna cry. I think I'm gonna cry. And then I think I'm gonna watch the regular Peter Pan and be like, I'm glad that there's this other, like, and then I'll just pretend that, you know, this is just, we know, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, when you like devastate yourself and destroy yourself, we'll go back to the original and be like, see, it's okay, like there's mermaids and none of that happened. But I still want to read it. I mean, I love being emotionally destroyed by a good book. Excuse me. Oh no. Books down. Books down. Books are not down anymore. Okay, the next, that was time travel because we're changing the story, right? We changed it. The second one, the seventh is clothing. And this one I was very also loose with, like the hat on this one, like the flowers. She's wearing flowers for a hat. So I thought that was fashion clothing that would match. Heard it in a love song. And this one again, I think I actually ordered this one the first year, 2021. I ordered this and it was part of the book mail. And I read a couple pages of it, and then I started joining in book tours and everything else, and I was like, I'll read my books later. Now is the time. It is later. So, from Tracy Gravis Graves, the best-selling author of The Girl He Used to Know, comes a long song of a story about starting over and second chances. Love doesn't always wait until you're ready. Layla Hidling is 35 and recently divorced, struggling to break free of the past, her glory days as the lead singer in a band, and a 10-year marriage to a man who never put her first. Layla's newfound independence feels a lot like loneliness. Then there's Josh, the single dad whose daughter attends the elementary school where Layla teaches music. Recently separated, he's still processing the end of his 20-year marriage to his high school sweetheart. He chats with Layla every morning at school and finds himself thinking about her more and more. Equally cautious and confused about dating in the world that favors apps over meeting organically, Layla and Josh decide to be friends, with the potential for something more. Sounds sensible and way too simple, but when two people are on the rebound, is it heartbreak or happiness that a love song away? Dang. Yes, I would say that rebounds. I don't know, like, you guys. That's a conversation, like a rebounds. Do we think that this is going to turn out, or do you think that they'll just be so like codependent and like destroy each other? You know, they say that the hardest relationship is the one after the abusive one. So I don't know. That's going to be a rough one, I believe, but also very entertaining, and I hope they end up together. I mean, wouldn't that be great? That'd be nice. We'll see what happens. The next one is a winter book. The only Christmas book I'm going to have left on my shelf, besides the Jane Porter book that we just got. So actually I'll have two. I lied to you. I'm so sorry. We will have two. From Rome with Love by Kate Lloyd. And this is, it said it could be a winter book or a book that has a nighttime cover. I thought this matched, and it is a Christmas book. It is December. I want to read some. I don't want to read only Christmas books in December, but I want to read some Christmas books in December. So, Lucy Guff's new job caring for the quirky daughter of a wealthy Seattle couple comes with an unexpected perk, being whisked off to Rome the weekend before Christmas, putting up with 50-year-old Tabitha's mood swings. Not to mention Lucy's own fear of flying is worth the opportunity to explore the entire city. But Lucy's dreams of relaxing European vacation are upended almost as soon as they arrive. Tabitha's parents disappear, and Tabitha turns out to be more than a handful. The only person Lucy can turn to is Mario, the smooth and handsome Italian who volunteered to be their personal tour guide. Can she trust him? What about Brad, her old boyfriend who wants to pick up where they left off? When the mysterious painting opens up painful family secrets, it seems as though Lucy's romantic holiday is over for good. Instead, she's forced to confront not only her employer, but also her own feelings about love and loyalty. Is she ready to see that this Christmas is just the beginning? Ooh. I mean, everybody likes travel, and like honestly, that sounds like, where did the parents go? What do you mean? And why is this kid such a handful? And why is the ex-boyfriend around? You don't bring your boyfriend around when you're babysitting other people's kids. I don't know. We'll find out what that situation's all about. That sounds very craziness over there. So the next one is prompt number 9. There's my baby. There's letters in the story, or there are letters on the cover. I have The Last Lecture by Randy Posh, Professor Carnegie Mellon with Jeffrey Zaslow. So this one I heard is actually like a tearjerker. I have not read it. It's not very long. I think it's under 200. It's like 206 pages. A lot of professors give talk titled The Last Lecture. Professors are asked to consider their demise and ruminate on the matters most to them. And while they speak, audiences can't help but mold the same question. What wisdom would we impart to the world if we knew it was our last chance? If we had to vanish tomorrow, what we want as our legacy? When Randy Pask, a computer science professor at Carnegie Mellon, was asked to give such a lecture, he didn't have to imagine it as his last, since he'd recently been diagnosed with terminal cancer. But the lecture he gave really achieved your childhood dreams. Wasn't about dying. It was about the importance of overcoming obstacles, of enabling the dreams of others, of seizing every moment, because time is all you have, and you may find one day that you have less than you think. It is a summation of everything Randy had come to believe. It was about living. In this book, Randy Pask has combined the humor, inspiration, and intelligence that made his lecture such a phenomenon, and gives it an inaudible form. It is a book that will be shared for generations to come. Randy Pasch was a professor of computer science, human-computer integrations, and design of Carnegie Mellon University from 1988 to 1997. He taught at the University of Virginia, an award-winning teacher and researcher. He worked with Adobe, Google, Electronic Arts, EA, and Walt Disney Imagineers, and pioneered the Alice Project. Jeffrey Zaslow, a columnist from the Wall Street Journal, attended the last lecture and wrote the story that helped fuel worldwide interest in it. He lived in suburbia Detroit with his wife Sherry and daughter Jordan, Alex, and Eden. So that sounds like it's also going to make me cry. So if I cry, you're gonna know about it. That sounds so sad. Like, that's everybody's worst dream, right? Like, worst nightmare. We know nobody really wants to know that. So trigger warning on that one, you guys. Trigger warning on that one. Our water now, we're remodeling our house, so like when we turn the water on right now, it's kind of loud, but it's only going to be like that for a little while, so that's just, I'm sorry. Then the last prompt is my pick, or a free pick. So I picked You Had Me at Hola by Alexis Daria. This one I feel like I'm cheating a little bit because I have read almost half of it, and it is a very quick, fun read. I do enjoy it very much. It's about this lady who makes like telemundos. They're like what do you call them? Soap operas. We call them soap operas. And she gets to work with this like very famous soap opera actor, and like I don't know what happens. We'll have to see what happens. But I think it's supposed to be a very funny, like romantic comedy kind of thing. So I can't read the back if that's where it is because it's got stickers on it. Oh, I can't read the synopsis, guys. Sorry, it's a library book and they've put a sticker over the top. So you are just going to have to wait and see, or I'll pull the synopsis up and read it at the end of the video. We can do that. So I'll remember to read this one to you guys at the end. So sorry about that. And that is the 10 that we picked from the Romance Readers Reading Challenge group. The next batch that I have, because these ones are some short books, because I figured sometimes I just put one in my bag or in my car and it doesn't take very long to read them. So these are some that I added because I want to see how many can I do, but I also want to like pick ones that I'm going to enjoy reading and look forward to reading. So another one that I added was Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus. This one looks really fun. It's kind of set out like text messages, or like kind of like a comic book but without pictures. So this one's not going to take me very long to read, and it does sound really funny. Let me see if it has a synopsis in here. Tweet by tweet, a classic unfolds. Few classic works of literature have excited such enduring popular interest among the general public as Frankenstein. But suppose the character Victor Frankenstein, Captain Robert Walton, and yes, even the monster had shared their tale in tweets. Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus, hilariously reimagined Mary Shelley's classic Gothic novel in about 200 tweets, each 280 characters or less. In this witty and ambigument, Victor Frankenstein's quest to create a sentiment is retold with the occasional emoji. The plight of his monstrous creation is presented with internal acknowledgement, and Captain Robert Walton ponders the blind power of the ambition with hashtags. What is that? I took his pendant with a picture of a pretty lady hiding in the nearby barn. I saw a beautiful woman sleeping and sipped it into her pocket. Why? Because she would never date me. Hashtag she would never date me. Now I found you at Frankenstein, Dr. Victor, and here's my quest. No, my demand. Make me a companion of the same species with that same defects, and I don't forget. Hashtag lady parts. Winky emoji. Frank at Dr. Frankton Victor. No thanks. At I am not. I'm monster star. Yes. I think. Yes, I like this. So when I get traumatized and I'm crying, you know, I think we should pair these up. Like, I'll read this one, and then I'll read this one. Just untraumatize myself. It'll be fine. Okay, and then another one, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I have read this. I've read it, but I want to read it again because I really, oh wait, I didn't. Look at that, guys. Again, I'm a fibber. How much? Oh, I have like 50 pages left. Oh, man. Well, it's fine. I'm gonna read the whole thing again. I love this. It's an orc, and like she stops battling, and then she's like, I'm gonna go open this stable and make it like a cafe, and she makes like coffee, and then like they hire like a little creature, human person thing. He's not a human, he's a little creature, and he like makes like rolls and all kinds of things, and then they have like another one come in, and he's like building things, and like he does like a fan, like kind of like the gnomes, like, or the elves. I think it's the elves or the gnomes, like they build these things. Obviously I need to read it again, but let me tell you about it. High fantasy with a double shot of self-renovation. Worn out after decades of packing steel and raising hell, Viv the orc barbarian chased out of the warrior's life with one final score, a forgotten legend, a fabled artifact, and an unreasonable amount of hope, leading her to the streets of Thun, where she plans to open the first coffee shop the city has ever seen. However, her dreams of a fresh start fall short. Instead of swinging swords are hardly a sure bet. Old frenemies and Thun's shady underbelly may just upset her plans. To finally build something that will last, Viv will need some new partners and a different kind of resolve. A hot cup of fantasy, slice of life with a dollop of romantic froth. I'm so excited. And the cover art by Carson Lowe Miller. Oh, that's so cute. The back has like an adorable, like it's kind of faded out, but you see the little mouse that bakes, and then there's like all his little treats on the table, and then they have like pictures. Like it is so cute. It's such a cute story. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to enjoy it again, and I'm going to read it and share with you because I think that everybody should read that. It says, you guys, it says that is a novel of high fantasy and low stakes, okay? And high stakes that you'll like it, low stakes that it's going to be terrible. And don't worry, there's not a lot of, like, with most science fiction, I have a hard time with some of it, or fantasy. There's a lot of political stuff, and I have trouble focusing. This one is just cute. It's like a little cartoon. It reminds me a lot of Redwall, but with, like, less like battling. No battling in that. Well, there's no fighting. The Scarlet and the Spy. This was another one that I had picked for the Spy. One of the second books I picked, and I was like, well, it's so small. I'm sure I should just put this in. So The Scarlet and the Spy by Jimmy Lee. This one, they were the two most unlikely women to ever meet. February 1954. Although the Korean War armistice was signed a year ago, most citizens of Seoul still struggled to return to some semblance of normalcy. Conditions are dismayed, children beg for food, and orphans are teamed. Alice J. Kim in Korea, translator, a typist for the American forces still sanctioned in the city, yearns for the life she used to live before the country was torn apart. Then Alice's boss makes an announcement that American movie star Marilyn Monroe will be visiting Korea on the 4-day USO tour, and Alice has been chosen as her translator. Though intrigued, Alice has very few expectations of the job. What would she and a beautiful actress at the peak of her fame possibly have to talk about? Yet the Marilyn she meets, while just as dazzling and sensual as Alice expects, is also surprisingly approachable. As Marilyn's visit unfolds, Alice is forced into reckoning with her own painful past. Moving and mesmerizing, The Starlet and the Spy is a beautiful portrayal of an unexpected kinship between two very different women, and of the surprising connection that can change or even save a life. and there's a picture of like a Marilyn Monroe on the front singing. I think that's going to be a really fun read. I like that, I think, and we'll see if we all like it. And then we have a lot of Jane Porter, and that is because I'm a slacker. I was reading all of Liz Hamilton's books, and then all of a sudden there was all these Jane Porter books, and I was like, no, I'm behind over there, and I'm catching up. But like, so far Liz Hamilton and Jane Porter have been the two authors I've read the most of this year, and now I'm so sorry that you've had to wait, and I'm gonna catch up. I am. And she's been so sweet. She sent me the big book box with the beautiful candle and the cocoa that we're using today, and she sent me, there's this, it was a really pretty book box, and it came with Flirting with the Beast, and there's this little tree like card holder, and this is a picture of all of her Christmas books. I have listened to Christmas at Copper Mountain on Audible. I have not, there's another one, Montana Cowboy Miracle. I have not listened or read that one. No Christmas Without You, not one, that one. Miracle on Chance Avenue, and Oh Christmas Night. So I'll look those up, and if they're on Audible, I'll probably add them because I can go through some Audible. But before we go looking for more books, let's let's enjoy. This is not a deal with situation, not at all. Let's enjoy the 3 books that she has been so sweet to send us before we go looking for more. We have plenty. She has given us plenty. So, the first book, that's lying. The first book that she sent us was, I started it, I'm sorry. But the first one was Flirting with 50 by Jane Porter. And I did like this, and I was a little bit like, I'm not 50, like what, but no, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I like it. I like it a lot. It's very realistic, and I like that part for what I've read. I'm not giving a review right now because I've not finished it. I cannot give an educated review on this just now, but a sexy and sparkling later in life contemporary romance about a woman who leaps out of her comfort zone and takes a chance on love by a New York Times bestselling author, Jane Porter. Paige Newsome is finally at a place in her life where she's comfortable. She loves her job as a college professor in Southern California, lives close enough to her mother to visit her regularly, and has 3 daughters who are flourishing in their own careers. Paige has no place to upend her life again since her divorce 8 years ago, but she's about to embark on a new adventure, co-teaching a course that includes a 3-week international field study. Paige can think of a dozen reasons why she shouldn't go, one being a dazzling Australian biologist who will be teaching alongside her. Professor Jack King is charismatic, a seasoned traveler, and more like Indiana Jones than Indiana Jones. All of which unsettle Paige, who prides herself on being immune to any man's charm. She isn't looking for love, and it turns out neither is he. But as the 2 co-professors lead the rigorous program together, first on campus, then in beautiful Tanzania, their biggest challenge will be working together closely while resisting the undeniable chemistry they feel when they're with each other. Yes, forced proximity. Thank you, hello. So that's Jane Porter. That's Flirting with 50. And then we have the one that she said today, which is Flirting with the Beast, which is the second book. And I've just seen like good reviews. That's all I saw. I was like, oh man, I wish I read that, because when it first came out, everybody was getting the book boxes, and I was like, that looks amazing. I was like, oh, it's number 2. That's why it looks amazing. So, a woman expecting, my kids are wrestling, so I'm sorry, but they're like out there with their dad, and like it's just what they do, so I'm sorry, but we will do our best. I have children. Surprise. Okay, so Flirting with the Beast. A woman's expectation to spending the holidays alone finds warmth in the iciest man she knows, in the steam and charm later in life romance by New York best-time-selling Jane Porter. It's been 5 years since Andy McDermott lost her husband, and she's finally starting to feel like herself again, ready to live fully. She's even started dating again. But when her holiday plans with her stepson and his fiance fall through, she refuses to spend another Christmas alone while everyone is celebrating with their family. Impulsively, she decides to go out to her cabin in Lake Arrowhead, a place she used to love to visit but hasn't gone in years, not since the feud started between her husband and their nearest neighbor. Andy starts to rethink her decision when being alone at the cabin proves to be more challenging than she expects. A heavy snowstorm hits the area, and Andy finds herself trapped there with no one to help except for her neighbor, Wolf Enders, a military veteran who lives full-time on the Lake Arrowhead. Wolf is as grumpy and intimidating as Andy remembers, but he's also unexpectedly kind and uncomfortably sexy. His presence reminds Andy that she may be older, but her body still works perfectly fine. Thank you very much. Can a good girl tame this sexy beast of a man? And will this snowflake turn into the love of a lifetime? I mean, that's like Beating the Beast, a retelling right there. The crusty dude and she melts his heart. I don't know what is that trope called? Like, it's not really, it could be enemies to lovers. We could call it enemies to lovers. That one sounds like it's going to be good. Very noisy for this time of the evening. So, Once Upon a Christmas is the newest Christmas book that she sent. And this is also by Jane Porter, and it says, "Can the magic of Christmas season lead to a fairy tale happy ending? When Kara Roberts' family plans an extra special Christmas to support her after her broken engagement, she wants nothing to do with the holidays. After learning her brother and his wife cannot use the cottage vacation they purchased, she impulsively escapes to an English cottage in the Bullock village of Bakewell, despite having no idea where Bakewell is. Lord Alec Sherborne of Langley Park is no fan of Christmas, but following in his parents' footsteps, he annually donates his impressive 19th century country home to be decorated and opened on December weekend as a community fundraiser. This year's Christmas is complicated, but by the arrival of a pretty American woman who books a cottage on his estate. Only the cottage is occupied, forced to take her under his vast roof he had just made when a storm's frozen the pipes and keeps her with him longer than he'd anticipated. Even more worrisome, her presence is making it feel like Christmas for the first time in forever. As these two holiday housemates become friends, is there something more in the Christmas air?" Ooh, that's also Forks proximity. It's kind of Forks proximity, and he seems kind of like enemies to lovers. Like he's just a cranky person, like a Scrooge that finds his Mrs. Scrooge and then isn't a Scrooge anymore. I think we will like this one. That's an assumption, by the way, but that's what it sounds like to me. And that is not the end of the TBR, or is it? Is that the end? No, we're going to have some carryovers for sure. We are going to have the Mrs. Claus and the Evil Elves is going to be carrying over because I did not finish that one. I'll go ahead and give a carryover, I think, when we do the book wrap up, because I'm not quite sure what will be carrying over, what I'm just going to put back on the TBR and wait for another time. Like I said, I really want December to be like a free, fun read, and I want us to really just not have to follow any timelines. I just want to kind of just read what I want to, put it down, pick it up, and then just kind of share with you guys what I'm reading, and not so much about pushing out reviews, except for the Jane Porter books, because those are part of like a tour. But everything else, like, I'm really just gonna relax, read it, and just see if it happens, and if it doesn't, it's all right. We'll put it in sometime in 2023. There's really no rush, but I really think we're going to enjoy the picks that we have. I also went through and did another one of their like challenges. There is a word hunt that I'm going to be posting, or have posted on the blog. So there's words there. I think they gave 8. I want to say there's 8 words. And you have to find those words in your reading. So I think that one of them was like bustle. So you have to find the word bustle, and then you have to share the quote, and then the page number of the book and the author's name that you got the quote from. And then if you finish it all, like that, you completed the challenge. And then I also did the Pick It For Me, but I'm actually going to use my December Pick It For Me for January's TBR. The reason being is they picked it. I think that she was another blogger, because she gave very detailed reasons why she picked each book, which I thought was like super, like, I loved it. It's like when people write in the margins on books and you get like a used book and it has somebody else's thoughts and like opinions and notes. I really like that. Some people don't. I do. I was just like, I really like that she gave her opinions. So thank you for that. And if I figure out who or where her blog is, because I just have a Goodreads name, I'll link it, and then you can look at her things as well, because she seems like she's well read. And she picked an amazing list, so she gave me recommendations off of my TBR through the prompts, and then she also gave me books that are new to me that I have not read and that were not on my TBR on Goodreads. And there were a lot of but there were a lot of really good suggestions that I would be interested in reading. So I think I put those on my Amazon wish list, and I will be probably, if I don't, if I don't get to them this month, because I don't think that I will, then January I'm probably going to run to the bookstore or Amazon them or wherever I find them and get those together and then share like the details, like the prompts and all that with you then. Just because I just think that December, I thought I could do 2 book prompts in one go, but honestly, like I just think that it's a lot and I don't want to stress out. Like I said, it's holiday time. It's time to read cozy things and enjoy the books and look forward to next, setting TBR goals for 2023 and getting the game board ready. We have to have a game board because honestly, like I don't want to just sit here and talk at you with our TBR videos. So I'm really going to try and make next year really fun and not focus so much on like more like get these videos out. Like, what are we wanting to talk about? Let's find some books. I really want to more promote books before they come out too, so you guys can get there like the day they come out and be really involved with that. I really did not do that as much this year as I wanted to. I also really enjoyed the 2 or 3 months where we were doing book giveaways and like we didn't do a lot of author interviews, but we did do some author questionnaires, and then we had the authors send in some gifts and we sent those out to you guys. That was really fun. So I just really want to get more active and involved with our authors and publishers and kind of see really what's going on with the books, what can we see coming, because I've really been behind in not getting to things until they're already on the shelves and they've been talked about. I love joining the conversation, but sometimes maybe I should be leading it as well. And I think that would be really enjoyable for you guys also to hear about some books and to be there the day that they come out, and we can be there at the store and taking pictures and showing the author that, hey, look, your brand new book that just came out today that you're worried to see your ratings at the end of the day. I've been told that release day is actually a very stressful day for most authors because they are not sure, like they have their reviews, but they're not sure if it's going to be a positive sell or a negative. So I think that going out and really supporting them that way as well, and then they know like, hey, we care and we liked your book, and like, look, it's on our shelf here at our Barnes and Nobles, or it's here on our shelf at whichever store we're at. So I really enjoyed doing that, and I would like to do more of it. So that is kind of my goals for 2023 as far as the TBR goes, involving in more blogs, being a bit more social, talking to our authors more giveaways for you guys. Definitely continuing with the video vlog every Tuesday, and then trying to add to that. I just didn't want to overwhelm and then fall short. My video editing and my filming, like it's on its way. So I am looking forward to talking to you guys more tomorrow about what I read in November. We have to go over the reviews and see. I did actually have 1 or 2 5-star reads, which I'm very excited to share. The book tour I think went really well. It's not over for everyone else, but my day happened today. I posted my video, I posted my review, and I loved Kiss of Sight and Dragon's Blood by Jane Aptova. That was a book tour that was hosted by Katie and Bray PA on Instagram, and we did that this weekend. There's a mini blog on that. I think it's like 12 minutes long. It's on our YouTube, my YouTube. And it talks about, like, I went and did a reading sprint this weekend. So we read The Kiss of Sight and we read The Dragon's Blood, shared my thoughts, kind of did like rolled the dice, read that many chapters, did check-ins, and I really enjoyed that. So I think that more reading games are going to definitely be a thing. I'm coming up with a board, but I don't want to copy anybody's idea. I'm really trying to make it like an original, really fun thing with like a book jail, and like there's punishments if I don't finish the book, and like, you have to join so many book tours, and like you have to do this to get your books out of jail. Like I really want it to be very like intricate, not so much just like a straightforward thing. It's going to be fun. I want it to really include everything, include my goals. And then we also have to go over my NetGalley tomorrow. I do not believe that I read anything. I don't think that I read any NetGalley for November. So I think that we're ending November month with 23% on NetGalley. I wanted to be 30 by the end of the year, but I think that it's okay to put that to the side because like I said, it's more important to enjoy the holidays, enjoy the reading, and really just not lose the reading momentum that we have going. So that is the plan. I have the stack of books. I'm going to probably be adding some audiobooks, and I'll just let you guys know. I'll just post those up on the wall as we go and on the blog. I'm not sure. I just, like I said, mood reading, and I'm excited to share with you. I'll still be doing check-ins. I'll be doing posts. I still think that I'm going to try every weekend to do at least like a 10-hour reading sprint, even if it's 5 hours Saturday, 5 hours Sunday. Just, I think that everybody really enjoyed that, and it really motivates me to actually stick to the TBR and actually commit to it. And I got a lot of reading done because I knew that like I have to to do it. I don't know, I just need that external motivation sometimes. So thank you to Jane Porter for the book box and the treats, and thank you to all the other authors who have been supporting us and sending me books throughout this year, and I look forward to reading more of them. I really, really do. And claps to Liz Hamilton. She put out a ton of books this year, so it's really been a race between me reading Liz Hamilton books and Jane Porter books, but they both are amazing authors, and I think that both of them are probably going into my favorites pile, and that's exciting. That list is getting bigger, but as of right now, I love them both, and I'm excited to read everything new they have coming out this next year. They both are really like rapid fire authors, and you should look at them both. Liz Hamilton writes dystopian romances with spice. Jane Porter, from what I've read, reads a lot more of the hometown romance, but she's not lacking on the spice there. Like, it's not like the, oh, like, he kissed me and la la la. Like, no, she has spice. She knows what she's doing. Liz Hamilton knows what she's doing. It just depends if you want, like, heroic, like, dystopians, or if you want, like, hometown, old-fashioned, or even new age realistic romances. Like, it just depends what you're in the mood for, but both are great. I think you should check them both out, and I think at the end I'm probably going to be doing like some kind of a wrap up between the two and saying like which ones are their favorites of their books that I like this year for sure. So like I said, lots of plans before the end of the year. We're going to be visiting tons, but thank you guys for visiting with me tonight, and I'm looking forward to December and what it's going to offer, and all the moody reading and all the moody sharing, and I'm really worried that the last lecture is going to make me cry. I just keep thinking about that. I'm like, dude, it's only like 200 pages, but I know I'm going to bawl my eyes out. So wish me luck on that. I'm gonna come up with some kind of an easy, quick dice game we can play to get these started, but we'll be starting December 1st, and I look forward to talking to you guys, and then we'll be doing our wrap-up posting probably Tuesday evening, a little bit later, just because I wasn't quite ready for it, but we'll be sitting down, and I did have some 5-star reads. We didn't do the NetGalley, but we cleaned up the TBR on Goodreads. We have 2 new friends on our Goodreads account, and we have 10 followers on our YouTube, which is a big deal. So thank you everybody who subscribed. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to talking to you guys more later on this week. Have a good evening.